Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's video we'll be discussing the striker conundrum at Arsenal and how they've recently made a U-turn for striker Viktor Gyökeres. But before that, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes a long way in helping me out build a small community on my channel, okay? It is so much appreciated. I've recently just hit 42 subscribers. Absolutely amazing business from all of you supporters out there at the moment watching my videos, all the likes and the comments, all the support on social media as well. It's been absolutely fantastic and I can't say thank you enough. I honestly can't. But yeah, let's get straight into the video, shall we? I want to speak about how, obviously Arsenal have been heavily rumoured with signing Benjamin Sesko, but obviously that hasn't really worked out as of yet, and they've moved their attentions more towards Viktor Gyökeres. Obviously he's had a fantastic season at Sporting Lisbon in League Portugal, and for me, I feel like it would be a fantastic signing for Arsenal. However, we're going to discuss the reasons why, they might lean towards a Viktor Gyökeres more than a Benjamin Sesko. We're going to compare the two strikers and see who comes out on top. Right, when we speak about Viktor Gyökeres and the season he had at Sporting Lisbon, right, for me, he has been absolutely fantastic. Obviously, he scored 39 goals in 33 League Portugal matches, okay, and that's averaging 1.25 goals per game, which is incredible by anybody's standards, okay? And in all competitions, he's played 49 games, scored 46 goals, and got 16 assists. So when you speak about numbers, when you speak about statistics, that is what Viktor Gyökeres provides for, obviously, Sporting Lisbon. I think they won the league the season before that, and they did all right this season as well. However, the only thing is, can you compare the two leagues? For me, it is a little bit tricky because when you compare the Premier League, the high opposition in the Premier League, the high standards that the Premier League has, and you compare that to League Portugal, I just don't think it's the same. You're not playing against the same level of opposition, the same level of defenders you are, or you will be in the Premier League if he does get that big move to Arsenal. So for me, it's a bit of a tricky one because in all competitions, right, scoring 46 goals in one single season is absolutely amazing. There's no denying that. But when you compare the level of goals to the Premier League, I feel like he probably would only score half of those goals in the Premier League. That might be a little bit stupid to say because you can't really base it off of anything other than the higher opposition in the Premier League and the higher level of defenders and whatnot and midfielders and all that sort of stuff. It might be a little bit stupid to say that he's only going to score half the goals because you can't really quantify the sort of levels of how Viktor Gyökeres might play. But when you think about some of the goals he scored in League Portugal, okay, and in the Championship as well, he scores a few goals where, like, he picks up the ball from the halfway line, skips past a few defenders, has so much time and space to run through one goal, and just slots it home past the keeper. And for me, I just don't think Viktor Gyökeres will get that time and space on the ball in the Premier League. You're not going to get that space because of the way how midfielders, defenders close you down so much faster. The level of pace, the level of speed the Premier League players play at, and the level of intensity the players play at in the Premier League is so much higher than it is in League Portugal. I don't think the same amount of goals will translate with Viktor Gyökeres. I'm not saying he won't score. I feel like he could probably become a 15-goal striker, a 20-goal striker in the Premier League. I'm not saying he won't, but I don't think you should expect him anything straight away. I feel like there probably will be that bedding period, and I feel like he will probably get 10 to 15 goals in that first season, just because, when you're challenging for that league title, when Arsenal are challenging for that league title, you probably need more of a clinical Premier League proven striker. And I feel like there is probably one player I'm going to mention later on in the video, but I want to compare Viktor Gyökeres to Benjamin Sesko straight away now, because I do think Benjamin Sesko is another option in there. I feel like there's rumours out there that he's sort of asking for a massive wage, so I feel like Arsenal have moved away because of that at this point in time. But obviously when we compare his statistics to a Viktor Gyökeres, okay, last season, obviously playing for RB Leipzig in the Bundesliga, he got 31 Bundesliga appearances, scored 14 goals and got 2 assists. So when you compare the goals and the assists, the numbers aren't there. The numbers are much lower than a Viktor Gyökeres. And I also want to mention, every time I've watched Benjamin Sesko play, right, I've never seen him actually have a good game in the Bundesliga, in the Champions League. I've just never actually watched him play like well. I'm not too sure if anybody else feels like that. And for me, I don't know if a Benjamin Sesko actually suits a Mikel Arteta style, a system that he wants to play at Arsenal. I don't know if he would fit into Arsenal as well as a Viktor Gyökeres would. just because when you think about Benjamin Sesko, you know, he's so tall. He's like a 6'5", I want to say. Yes, he does run in behind, but again, he's not as fast as I think Gyökeres would be. He sort of plays off the shoulder here and there, but like I feel like he's more of a hold-up striker that brings players into play rather than somebody who runs in behind all the time. Whereas Viktor Gyökeres sort of does that on a more regular basis. So when we look at both striker profiles, I really do think Viktor Gyökeres would suit Arsenal and Mikel Arteta more than a Benjamin Sesko, because he's a good dribbler. He runs into space. He's got great movement. He runs in behind, all that sort of stuff. And he's also a clinical finisher. I just don't know if, you know, like I said, it's just I don't know if he's sort of like better than period. I don't know if it would suit him moving to an Arsenal straight away. Like, does Viktor Gykeres need more of a stepping stone? I feel like both strikers need more of a stepping stone rather than joining an Arsenal straight away, because they're going to have so much high expectations being the main man at Arsenal. There's going to be so high expectations to score every single game, to provide those goals, to potentially, you know, be in that title race, to potentially win the Premier League. They're going to, you know, the Arsenal fans are going to be expecting you to score every single game, and that's just the harsh reality of being one of those top sides in the Premier League. You know, if you're a main striker for those top sides, you're going to have to score 1 in 2, 1 in 3 games, honestly. So it's going to be tricky for either striker who joins the club this season. I really do feel like Arsenal are going to get a striker. It just depends who they're going to get. And for me, when you speak about Benjamin Sesko and you speak about the height of the player and you speak about how tall he is and all this sort of stuff, I don't actually think Arsenal have had, you know, a good tall striker in the last 5, maybe 6, 7 or 8 years. Yes, they've had a Banyang, yes, they've had Giroud, but other than that, I don't think a tall striker actually suits how Arsenal want to play, with their sort of tiki-taka, playing out from the back sort of football. I don't think it suits the way Mikel Arteta wants to play the game at Arsenal, from my point of view, anyways. But yeah, I do think, right, when we speak about these two strikers, I think Viktor Gykeres probably is the best option to go for. But when we speak about the third player on this list, okay, and it's actually one player that we're linked to heavily and actually put in a £60 million rumour in, I'm pretty sure, in January last season, and that is Ollie Watkins. I really do feel like Mikel Arteta and Arsenal are sleeping on a move for Ollie Watkins this season, just because when you talk about Premier League proven strikers, Ollie Watkins is that. He's consistently scoring 20 plus goals in the Premier League for the last, I want to say, 3 or 4 years now. Honestly, Ollie Watkins can do it all. He really can. He can hold up the ball. He can bring in players into play. He can run in behind the striker. He can do those. He can run into the channels. He's a clinical striker. Yes, don't get me wrong. He does miss a few chances here and there. It probably does take him, I want to say, 4 or 5 shots to actually score a goal, which I don't know if you can identify as being clinical or not, but either way, he'll still score you 20 plus goals in a single season. So that is absolutely fantastic. You know, this season it probably hasn't been his best at Aston Villa, but you know, he's struggled with the likes of John Duran being in there. He's struggled with Marcus Rashford coming in. But again, he's still put up the numbers. He still provides you with those big moments in front of goal. And for me, if it wasn't for these two main strikers, their main 2 striker targets, I probably would go for Ollie Watkins. And for me, I think it's an age difference thing for Mikel Arteta. That's why he's not going for Ollie Watkins, because he's on the older side of things. I want to say he's, what, 29 now? So for me, I just feel like that's sort of going against the reasons why Mikel Arteta is probably going for one of the Viktor Gyökeres or Benjamin Sesko, just because they're a little bit younger, could probably get a few more years out of him. But if you can sign an Ollie Watkins and he wins you the league, why wouldn't you? Obviously, right, I don't want to compare Ollie Watkins to an Ian Wright, because that might be an absolute crazy shout. But all I'm saying is, when Arsenal signed Ian Wright, he was getting on in his career. That was the back end of his career, okay? I'm pretty sure he was like, what, 27, 28 or something like that. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was on the older end of his career at least. And look at the amazing stuff Ian Wright did for Arsenal. And the Arsenal fans love him now, don't they? He's an absolutely fantastic player back in the day, obviously. So why wouldn't you go all out for Ollie Watkins again? Yes, he might cost you a little bit more money, but surely that money would be worth it in the long run if you can win the Premier League, or if you can win a FA Cup or another trophy in there. I'm not too sure. If you can win the Champions League, I don't know. They came so close to, you know, getting to the finals last season, so maybe they could do it again. Who knows? But yeah, that's where I'm going to end the video, okay? Let's end with some questions. Who do you think the best striker Arsenal could sign next season would be? Do you think Viktor Gyökeres would adapt to the Premier League? Do you think Benjamin Sesko would adapt to the Premier League? Do you think the Bundesliga and League Portugal are sort of hard leagues to compare to the Premier League and how they're going to transition into the Premier League. And do you think Mikel Arteta and Arsenal are sort of sleeping on Ollie Watkins? Do you think Ollie Watkins would be the perfect striker because he's Premier League proven? Yeah, those are all my questions. But as always, please like, comment and subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes a long way in helping me build a small community on my channel. And I just want to say a massive thank you for all the subscribers, all the likes and the comments, all the support on social media. It's been absolutely amazing. And just keep up, you know, all the views, all this sort of good stuff, all the interaction is absolutely amazing. And let me know how I can improve my channel for the future. Let me know what type of videos you want to see in the future on this channel, okay? Because I'm open to suggestions. I honestly am. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video and peace out.